Hi guys, Dr. Tracy. I had a meeting today at 10 o'clock, and one of the things I really wanted to go over was the worked example, but I don't know. I started talking about stuff and I didn't go over this worked example. And I think it's very important that I give you just one option of seeing the code from this chapter and how it works. So if we could go over that. This video is going to be a chance to look at some code and see how it works. So I'll bring this up. And so in this example, producing a mass mailing, this worked example is going to walk you through the steps of creating the program that are similar to the homework assignment. So first, we have a problem statement. And in this problem statement, they want to create these letters and be able to mass mail them and start with the different strings. They can put it together in a letter. So to do this, you're going to be declaring some strings and the variables that you'll need for the pieces, like the address and the name. So step one, draw a picture. When it says draw a picture, this is really planning out the logic of your program before you start programming it. So what do I want it to look like? And since we're going to take things like first name and last name and put them together, we need to kind of get a visual representation about what they might look like and where they end and how big they could be. So as we put those fragments together, we can use them within the program itself. Then it says step 2, declare the pointer variables. We collect a sequence of character pointers of unknown length. Therefore, we use a vector of pointers. That means we're going to take whatever was typed in and we're going to pull out pieces. But rather than having to pull out pieces and copy those pieces, this program is going to use pointers to just point to those pieces. That eliminates duplication. And one of the things that's very important with C++ is that we have a memory management system that's built into the syntax of the language. So when we declare these pointer variables, we're pointing to the certain things that are going to be name, last name. So when someone ends it all, when we get a database that has a lot of information, we can pick out what we need. So step 3 is initialize the pointers with variable addresses or free store memory. Now, see, what pointers do is they save the address of data. They don't save the data itself. Pointers are very helpful because they're able to reduce redundancy of having the same variable in more than one place. The address is only a byte, whereas the data itself could contain a lot more than that. So in this mailing function, you're going to first set the fragment to start the beginning of the letter template, then go through each character, and if the character is a digit, add it to the fragments vector, and then add the row, and so that we can divide the title, the first name, the last name, the address, the city, the state, the zip into the different fragments. But they aren't storing that data in a separate place. They're basically just storing the address where that data exists. And then we're able to access the data. So this is the for loop that's going to go through each loop and find the size where it finds that /0, which means end line. Here's the code. We start off with a vector of each of those characters to prepare mailing. And that's going to take a character called letter, which is our first pointer, and a character called variables of variable length. Then it looks for the fragments in through the vector, and that's where that for loop function will run. And it starts with the letter, and if it's a letter and if it's not equal to /0, then go to the next one. When it gets to if it is a digit, so when it is equal to the 0 part of /0, you're going to take everything in front of it and you're going to store that in a fragment. So that pushback statement is going to keep it into an array. And then we'll start on the next character and we'll give that an index, and we'll add one more to the index. So it keeps looping through all of the strings that are within the variable parts and creates the variable that puts together. So now we have the main function of this code. The character variable parts, 10, that means there's 10 pieces to this. in the array. We're not using all of them. There's a letter template, and you can see that the letter template has some numbers in there, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to relate to the parts of the fragments as they were separated. And of course, /n just means go down to the next line, if you didn't remember that one. Now, this is saying for int I equals 0, I less than fragment size I plus plus, it's going to output the fragments I into the place where in place of that number, it will put that value. So that's the code, and what you should do is you should try and copy this code in and see if it works, and then try and do different things with it, see how it breaks, etc. So hopefully that's helpful. And if you would like to see further examples of code or pointers, let me know, and I can set up a Zoom meeting where we can go over it together.